Well, I definitely hope so. But let's maybe first stress that what's going on now is that we are in the European Union, in the member states, in the different European institutions, now very much focusing on handling this crisis. We have to get the European citizens, we have to get the European business, we have to get our European friends all through this crisis. So that's where all our focus is on now. And then, of course, I'm pretty sure that once we have managed to handle the crisis and deal with the heavy socio-economic consequences of this crisis, no doubt questions will be raised, discussions will take place as to what we've learned from this crisis, what worked well, what could we have done better. But there is one thing that I definitely hope is that we will have a thriving, strong Europe based on solidarity and working together. Oh, yes, definitely. In the very beginning of this crisis, we were very much taken aback by this crisis. Everybody here in Europe and in the world was. We did not expect it to take this proportion. So in the very beginning, there was a bit of a tendency of handling the situation all by ourselves, member states doing it by themselves, everybody looking at it from their own, I would say, country and corner. But very quickly it became clear that this is a virus that doesn't know borders, and that cooperation and solidarity and collaboration between member states was and is hugely important. And indeed, that is one of I would even say, beautiful things of what has happened, is that lots of solidarity actions have taken place and continue to take place every day. Also between member states, for instance, there are several examples of member states who help other member states who have overwhelmed hospital system and take patients from one member state to another. For instance, Austria and Germany have taken people from Italy in their hospitals. There are other examples of countries that are sending medical equipment to other countries. Austria, for instance, having sent medical equipment to Italy. Luxembourg being involved in the solidarity action. So we see that there is a lot of solidarity ongoing between the member states. And this is one of the reasons why the Commission has issued a specific set of guidelines to help member states doing this even more and even better. So yes, there's a lot of solidarity, and I think that's very, very crucial if we want to handle this pandemic successfully. Well, I think you should ask these questions to the politicians, of course. But I can see that everybody in the member states, in the European Union, in the European institutions, fully grasps, I think, the importance of this crisis and the importance of handling this crisis correctly, and also the importance of working together on these things. We see there is a lot of meetings, talks, discussions ongoing between member states, between the member states and the European institutions to work on this. The difference now maybe is that discussions very often take place through IT, through Skype and other forms that are being used. So I think that the crisis has made it clear that we all have to work together, but the way we do it has maybe changed a little bit, thanks to the modern new technologies. I think the role of media cannot be stressed enough. This is a very important crisis, which has a lot of angles. Politicians have to intervene to take important political decisions. Scientists have to follow the situation. Decisions have to be taken at member state level, at local level, have to be taken in industries, in sectors. Individual people have to take decisions. So we are working in a very complex environment where important steps have to be made. In that environment, it's very important that we have a media that can explain things very clearly. In the context of crisis, communication becomes even more important than it is if there is no crisis. We want to make sure that everybody understands what's going on, that they understand why decisions have been taken, why certain decisions have to be taken, which steps have to be taken, and so on. And here the media plays an incredibly important role. Of course, also the media plays an important role in raising the right critical questions. Media has to ask us, politicians, people that take decisions, scientists, regularly good questions to make sure that we all remain on the right track. So media plays an incredibly important role in this crisis. Well, if I can make it maybe a little bit personal here, when I look at the environment in which I work here in the European Commission, almost all staff now works on the basis of teleworking. And it works incredibly well, I have to say. It's a completely different way of working to the extent that most of us are at home and try to organize their work from home. But it works extremely well. We continue to do the same work, but on a different basis, using all these digital tools that are at our disposal. So I think obviously I am not Madame Soleil. I do not know what the future will look like, but I can imagine in terms of working together, the crisis has opened doors to new ways of doing things. And I think this is something that may have longer lasting effects. Well, as I said in the beginning, there is one thing that became quickly clear. This is a virus that knows no borders. You can do whatever you want in your corner, your part of the world. If we don't work together with other countries, other member states, other continents, things will not be solved well. So I think everybody has very quickly understood, as particularly here in Europe, the importance of cooperation and the importance of solidarity. We are in this together. Today, one member state is severely hit by the crisis. Tomorrow, another member state will have equally important challenges. We are in this together. And I can only hope that as far as Europe is concerned, we have a lot of important challenges ahead of us that we all realize very well. Most of these challenges, and in particular the challenge of tackling the coronavirus, requires good cooperation, working together, and solidarity. Basic values on which the European Union is built.